Hi guys, Saint here. I'm going to be doing the patch 6.7 rundown, so let's hop into it. There's Aurelian soul nerfs. I haven't really seen him that much in solo queue, to be honest, and usually he's either feeding his ass off or he's just destroying the entire team by himself. So it feels like he's a champion that took people a while to learn, but I think as people learn him, they'll start to realize that he is a pretty strong champion. I think a lot of the pros didn't bother learning him just because he's not enabled for playoffs, so I didn't really get to see that many good players use him or play him. But overall, I think that before these nerfs, he was a pretty decent champion, but these nerfs might actually hurt him a decent amount. I don't really know enough about the champion to really give my input on him, but these seem like decent nerfs, like a half-second stun duration change and 20% slow on the ultimate difference, and also the duration being half. So it just seems like actually small nerfs, but I think he'll still be okay. Just from what I like, because he always goes off. Like when I see him in solo queue, when people build him that like Bruiser, Roa, Rylai's build, you know, like your traditional Bruiser, Mage build, he seems like he does pretty good. So I'm sure as more pros play him, I'll get like a better gauge on how good he is. Corki, they lowered his passive damage ratio to 1.0 total attack damage instead of 1.1. This is a decent sized nerf. This is really going to hurt his late game a lot more than his early and mid game. Because, you know, in your early game you just build Triforce anyways, which doesn't really have that much base AD. So I think this nerf will hurt Corki a decent amount, but I don't really think it's going to be like the, you know, the one that breaks him. I still think Corki's still going to have his place. He's still going to be a decently strong champion and still going to do the exact same job that he did before. Aurelia, they gave her small buffs on the mana, and they also raised the total attack damage ratio on Blade Surge to 1.2. These are like okay buffs, like your Q will do a little bit more damage, but the problem is if you build, you know, attack damage to fight some of these tanks that are in the top lane, they're just gonna like shit on you. Like Aurelia loses the majority of the matchups against these tank champions that just get grasp. You know, like you can just go the build where you go Sunfire into Frozen Fist, and guess what counters Aurelia? The counter to Aurelia is health stacking, you know, and attack speed slowing and all that kind of nonsense. And pretty much every single tank can do that build, so Aurelia is still just going to get shit on by tanks. So I don't really think this buff's going to hurt her that, or going to make her that relevant. Jhin, they nerfed his dancing grenade damage, and they nerfed the mana cost on it. They made it a little bit more, and they also made Captive Audience. Actually, they buffed Captive Audience. Costs a little bit less mana. I guess this is mainly to target Jhin's wave clear, so he actually has pretty decent wave clear for the type of champion he is, and he's an incredibly strong lane bully. Like, you don't even have to use Dancing Grenade just to clear the wave. You can just, like, run up and do, like, an auto Dancing Grenade, like, you know, like, Nether auto. Like, you can get, like, some pretty nice trades with Jhin, and he does a lot of damage. He's actually an extremely annoying lane bully, and he's, like, really good at setting up plays, so it's going to hurt his laning a little bit, but I still think Jin's going to be pretty much the exact same champion. Like, this nerf's not that big a deal. And he'll still be doing the same job that he was before. Kindred, they nerfed her self-heal on W. Not that big of a nerf, I think. The big nerf for Kindred here is Lambs or Spite now self-cast directly on top of Kindred only, so you're not going to be able to, like, Q, you know, like, flash Q and, like, save your ally and, like, those amazing Kindred saves that you would do before. You're going to have to be, like, a lot more closer to them, which is going to be really annoying for team fights and skirmishes, but I still think Kindred's still going to be a very strong champion overall. Like, she still pretty much has the same kit, the same, you know, early game strength and ability to do objectives and all that amazing scaling and all that nonsense. So yeah, this is an annoying nerf to Kindred's ultimate, but I still think Kindred will be very strong with this nerf. Prismatic Barrier is slightly slower as it goes out, but is much faster in return, overall faster from 6.6, so they gave W a slight buff, I guess, because it's harder to hit the W as it comes back in, I guess, or something. I don't know. I don't really see much Lux lately, so the W, when I last saw it, when they like just changed her W, like looked like it was pretty sloppy looking, so I think this is just kind of to fix that, but I think Lux is still the same. Nidalee, they made it to where her pounce does less damage early, but a little bit more damage later. I don't think it's going to do anything different with Nidalee. She's still just going to be a broken piece of shit. I thought the last changes would hurt her clear speed a lot in her clear in the 6.6 patch, but Nidalee's just so broken it doesn't matter. So this change isn't going to do shit. Nidalee's still probably the best jungler in the game, and she's just a broken sack of shit, and I wish Riot would just nerf the hell out of her already, because she's so fucking busted. Poppy, they nerfed the range on Iron Ambassador, and also no longer resets Poppy's basic attacks, so there's going to be a lot of damage off of some of the Poppy trades when you all in, and then Hammer Shock now does 115 plus 7% of the target's maximum health, so I guess on high health targets and tanks and stuff it'll be a little bit better, but for trading against squishy targets and like all-inning some of the squishier ADCs and mid laners, it's going to do a little bit less damage overall. And Heroic Charge also has the range lowered by 100. These are actually pretty big nerfs to Poppy. Like, I thought Poppy was one of the strongest, if not the strongest top laners in the game before this. I'm sure she'll still be okay with these nerfs, but these are definitely really annoying nerfs to her. I think situationally she'll still be a really good champion though, just because her kit is so good and it counters so many different champions and her ultimate can be used in so many good ways. So definitely big nerfs to Poppy, and I don't think she's going to be the top of the food chain anymore, but she's still going to have her place. But I think Maokai and some of the other top laners might just overshadow her a little bit more now. Rammus. Now, the ultimate has a lot longer cooldown in the early ranks. I mean, Rammus could having a minute cooldown on your ultimate at, base level is, like, pretty short. So I think these are, like, pretty decent nerfs to Rammus. There were some people playing Rammus top a lot. I didn't really see much in the jungle or anywhere else, but these are going to be decent-sized nerfs for Rammus top. I don't really think Rammus even deserved these nerfs, but I can see where they're going with it. Rammus is still going to have, his own little niche where the enemy team has like an all AD team comp. Rammus will be, he's impossible to kill, so he'll be good in that situation. Soraka, they made Star Call cost more mana, and Astral Infusion also going to cost more mana, which I don't really think matters that much because I never really felt like I had mana problems on Soraka to begin with, so yeah, I don't think this is going to do anything really. Soraka is still the same champion. Udyr, they lowered his base health regen, and they lowered Phoenix Stance's damage per second by 5, and the proc damage by 15. Decent sized nerfs overall. I haven't really been seeing that much Udyr anyways, since, they nerfed him the last time, but those nerfs that were before, on top of these nerfs, are probably just gonna, like, put him into the ground. I know Trick2G tweeted out that he thought Udyr was probably dead after these changes, so, I mean, he plays a lot of damn Udyr, so I'll just trust him on that. Living Shadows on Zed now has a longer cooldown, so it's going to be a lot easier to gank him in lane, of course, since you don't even max W first, so you're going to have that long 22-second cooldown W. So the window for where you can punish Zed is going to be really, really long. And the passive bonus attack damage also got lowered by 5%, so decent nerfs overall to Zed, and going to make it a lot bigger windows where you can punish him. Items, they nerf Maul, they remove the attack speed on it on the passive. Or not the passive, but the proc, whatever. And they lowered the magic resistance to 40 from 50. I thought Maul overall was an incredibly broken item, and especially for mid lane ADC champions and even top laners and Graves and all these other champions that if you're dealing with like an AP top and an AP jungle, if you rush Maul, it makes you fucking impossible to kill, and you'll like kill their entire team by yourself. So these are justified nerfs, but very big nerfs out, and maybe it won't be the item that you're going to go to when you want to get that magic resistant. I think people will probably start going more towards like a Merc Scimitar type build on some of these champions. Warlords Bloodlust, 50% for melee champions and 25% for ranged champions versus minions. So this is actually probably a nerf targeted towards Graves and Lucian and pretty much all the ADC champions that are just really exploiting this and all the sustain that Warlords Bloodlust gives. So I think pretty justified nerfs, because I think this mastery right here can be really abusive if you build bruiser ADC champions. Death timers, it says rebalance death timers to be less punishing between minutes 30 and 55. I don't really know the exact math on this, but I mean everybody was bitching about death timers being too long, so we'll see about it. You can see an enemy champion without the assistance of a ward vision effects. They can always see you, and vice versa. Graze, smoke screen, or other vision reducing effects. So these are just seem like bug fixes. Rotating game mode queue. Session is up first. Okay. That doesn't really do anything for the game. Pre-made limiter is going to make it to where you can't shove a Diamond 5 guy into a challenger queue, like on your Smurf to exploit dynamic queue. You're going to actually have to have some accounts that are sorta high. Like, 'cause there's a lot of people that will queue up with Smurfs on Diamond 5 accounts and all that nonsense when they're Master or Challenger and just crank their LP up super high. I don't think this fixes the innate issues with Dynamic Q and high elo, but it's a start. And I know a lot of people hate Dynamic Q, and I feel like it doesn't work in the high-end level, and the queue times are too long. And I liked some things about Dynamic Q, but it can definitely use some work. And I don't think Solo Q will ever come out, so hopefully they just fix up Dynamic Q. That's pretty much it for the patch changes. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time.